welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Faith.
Jesi. Breanna.
And I'm Josh, and today it is me and three wonderful female panelists again. Two of which are...
We win. Whatever it is, we win.
I'm outnumbered. Two of which are making their very first appearance. Faith is a very good friend of mine from college, very good writer, and going for nursing, which is one of the smartest fields to pursue. And Breanna is someone that I work with at a supermarket for a period of time. Very energetic and kind-hearted individual. Breanna is also breaking the record for being the youngest and shortest person to be on our panel.
Welcome, guys.
So today we are going to be going over a short piece. It is from the Trinidad Noir. There's a complete series of Noir books. It's called the Acastic Noir series. Started out with Brooklyn Noir. There's New Jersey Noir. There's Tehran Noir. There's Tel Aviv Noir. Bronx Noir. There's just all different areas that they concentrate on. And the particular work we're going to be going over is from Laventille in Trinidad. And the work is Town of Tears by Elizabeth Nunez. I thought I would kick off with the discussion starter for this one, and it's going to be a relatively basic one, but it can blossom into something. In what way do you feel that women have power over men throughout this piece, when most of this piece has to do with men asserting their dominance on women?
That's a really good question.
I probably can't answer it because
I think throughout this book, women definitely show that they have power over men because of just how men will always need women. I know that sounds funny, but it's the truth. Men will always need women for anything. Women will always offer like a different opinion than men ever can to anything, really. And clearly they, how do I say this the right way? Supply what men want, I guess you could say, a natural what everybody wants. In a way.
think I'm going to build off on yours because I think it is a grimier
a piece, yeah.
answer to that. But you also have the idea of men being men are of nature while women are of nurture, where a man's need for nature is also connected to his need for control. And it seemed in this case, the women are somewhat vulnerable on the exterior because women are still at least Rosa in this case is really thinking it out, where she realizes that she knows that Cedric is going to need her, even though it seems like he's dominating her. What happens if she ever does take a stand, and if she ever turned down his engagement and walk away? Yeah. So I think that it is that idea that in this area, where especially in this, I did some research on Laventille, and there was, it said that it is it's a poor place to live, and it's still not as civilized or modern the way that much of the United States is.
I thought the book really showed how bad the town was, because it starts at the beginning where they find a woman's finger and eyeballs and everything.
Yeah, the pieces that were eaten by the pig.
Yeah,
Random
that
pigs
is
running
pretty
around.
gruesome.
Mhm.
yeah, and then people just kind of seem like, well, that happened, you know, like it was no big deal.
I think the one person said no body, no crime, or no
Mhm.
murder
Yeah.
or something like that.
But they
It's
don't
like-
see those kind of, they don't see black people as people.
That's what I thought it was actually about when like the first time I read it, I thought it was about like race and how it's back. It seems like it was placed a while ago, I want to say, like 1950s, maybe
The
40s.
story, so according to the story, it was set in 2000.
Really, it seems like so far back, like you said, it wasn't like equal to the rest of us.
But this is an uncivilized area too.
Yeah, but at
Could have been
first,
when the story was written. And again, the story was written
recently too.
Yeah, it does say.
But
Originally published in
yeah.
2000.
okay,
So it,
That is
That's
relatively
recent,
recent,
yeah.
yeah. Which I mean, I
Doesn't
guess is
necessarily-
kind of, you know, sad to read
Mhm.
that, you know. I mean, I personally didn't get so much of a, like a race vibe. I only read it through once. I'll probably read through it again just to try to get a better understanding, but I just came at it as this is a town of tears because everybody's being murdered and there's rape involved, like, which are both very sad, terrible things. So that, I mean, that's what I got from it, that all these women are just being brutalized in one way or another.
and these are white women that are being.
Yeah, so,
And
and that's why I didn't really gather the race. I mean, yes, they mentioned that there was a black woman who was murdered, but, you know, then they have, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Rosa and Zuela was her name? They were
Yeah.
both white, correct? Or at least they were
Rosa
portrayed
was
as white.
white.
Yeah.
But this is a different. It also, she makes mention to the Chinaman
Yes.
who's who had raped her.
Yeah, she said it like so matter of factly, like it happened all the time. You see
Yeah.
like that, the whole perception.
Chinaman done do that to me already.
Yeah, just like, oh, this is the way of life, this is how it is.
In a way, like the way I read that the first time, because it took me a while to figure out that they were talking about sex and rape, which I can't even believe, like, oh, the man had the pole, and I'm like picturing in my head like a man with a metal pole, like that's what I'm picturing. And I actually had to read through, like, the first time she said it a few times to really kind of get like, oh, okay, I gotcha. But the way I read it was, oh, he already did that to me. Like, oh, girl, please,
yeah.
you know, you just did it. He already did that to
The
me.
worst one
kind of thing.
was the priest. The priest denied. He refused to.
To help.
Not only did he refuse to help, but he also refused to acknowledge the fact that this happened. He felt that it was an image, a sinful image that was planted in her mind by Satan, and not a memory. So that was pretty.
They were
Violent.
children, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I wanted to make sure
as
that
if
I
they were younger or like
yeah.
teenagers.
Because I wrote child rape here, which
Yeah.
I mean sounds terrible, but that's how I got that they were young girls too.
Yeah,
they
They
weren't
that's
were
just
how I
like
young,
was
and they
thinking.
were,
but
and they must have, because she had to have been, because toward the end of the piece, she's Cedric proposes to her, so she's young, but she's old enough.
I
to
think
be-
the other thing that told me
Sorry.
that they were young too was that they said he was a man with a pole, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who uses that terminology to describe a man's.
Yeah.
And that's what told me it was a child because, or that they were children, or you know, not versed well in the male anatomy, to use the proper names. And like I said, you know, I had to read over it 2 or 3 times, like that section going, man with a pole done did that to me. Like, what is she talking about? First we were talking about murder, and now this, like, what's happening? So it took me a little while to get that, and as soon as, you know, I made that connection, I'm like, oh, these men are going after these young
Young
girls.
And the level of
And that's
education is
terrible.
also very poor as well. So these girls clearly, regardless of age, they don't have an education, especially the way that they're speaking.
Yeah,
So
that's actually another reason why I thought it was set back later.
Yeah,
Because
that's
of
why I was
how they
taking
spoke,
it
yeah.
as like 40s,
it could
50s.
have been, but I'm thinking if it was written in the present time, it was published in 2000.
Yeah, I was taking it as like from far
Further
back
back, yeah.
because just the way they're also treating women in this story. Like we
Mhm.
evolved from that a lot.
Well,
I
certainly.
was
Or at least most places have
Yeah,
it.
Most places,
That
well,
clearly
clearly
some
this one
places
didn't.
have it.
Yeah.
This is set quite far back.
It's only 18 years ago.
Mhm.
This is what it was like.
Mm.
It's so sad.
Ready then, do we have any final thoughts?
It's pretty confusing.
Yeah, I found it very
If you only read it once, you're pretty lost.
I would attest to that. I would say
Yeah.
I had it was a challenge, but because you would think a Noor is more so in a way it's a mystery because it does make you think, and I think seeing a dead person and a body that was mutilated because it was consumed and regurgitated by a pig definitely sets up for a suspicious situation.
Yeah, and I can't believe this is like in the United States. It more sounds like something that would happen in a third world country.
It's not. It's Trinidad.
Oh, okay.
Trinidad's
So I was
in the
right.
Caribbean. Yeah. So.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of awful reading. I mean, I, in a way, was kind of expected something not very good with a name called Town of Tears. I don't know. It just sounds like it's going to be a sad place. But you know, it is, and I wouldn't even so much say sad, just horrible. Again, you know, these women are just facing murder as if it's no big deal, and facing, you know, rape like it's whatever, and nobody's listening to them, nobody's helping them, nobody cares, and that is just really I don't want to say sad because it's not sad, it's so much more infuriating than that, but it's, I don't know, I guess it's a nice blend of anger and sad, you know, being a woman and, you know, living in a country where, you know, I have rights and I have a voice and people will stand up for me because I'm a woman. You know, it's hard to really think that there are still places out there where, you know, if a woman's raped, nobody cares, and she just has to deal with it, and that's that. So I don't know.
So very first on your, to answer the Town of Tears remark, the first paragraph she makes mention to Laventille, home of the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima, which is a huge. It's a huge figure in their area. Between May and October, on a Sunday that's closest to the 13th of the month, they head there to pray and take service. Town of Tears, Laventille, home of the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima, Town of Tears. Laventville, the poet once called it. To go downhill from here was to ascend. He would not be wrong, yet to go uphill was also to ascend. To reach such splendor it blinded the eye, for there at the top the sun gilded the roofs of the shrine and the tiny blue and white chapel next to it, and made the blue of the blue sky bluer and the white of the white clouds whiter. And if one looked up, as one always was compelled to do, one followed the dazzling arc of the sky to a sea shimmering gold and silver on clear days, gray and still magnificent when it rained. So they're portraying it as such a beautiful place, and yet there's so many beautiful places. Even Jamaica, which is not too far from Trinidad. If you go outside of the resorts, it's not a very pleasant place.
It's very true. We vacationed in Turks and Caicos, and we traveled outside of the resort. We went to like one of the beaches resorts, and we wanted to go horseback riding on the beach. So my mom found a place outside of the resort that did that, and we got into a cab, and it was really something else. Just seeing broken houses and people living in them, not just like, you know, abandoned houses that were broken and falling apart. No, people were living in these houses. And I'll always remember that, because it's like, as much as I love the Caribbean, I love going there and sipping on pina coladas and, you know, calling it having a nice time. You know, people who live down there aren't as as fortunate as the people who go and visit.
The
I
dark
should say.
underbelly of torture, or that's the dark underbelly of tourism.
Yep.
I also kind of like disjointed at first because it's talking about like a murder and then talking about rape, and you could have said it been like two different stories that got mashed together. But then I thought maybe the author's point was to show that this town is such a mess. Someone who is murdering, they don't even care, and then it goes showing the other problems.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of confused me too, because I feel like it jumped between
Yeah,
without
it-
really. It was
I
just like
think
talking
that
about
would
murder,
be-
and then all of a sudden, Chinaman done do that to me, and I'm like, wait, what?
And it
Yeah,
and,
What happened to the
and
murder?
distinguishing Rosa and Zuella was also a challenge.
Yes.
Because they just refer to her.
I
Mhm.
was so confused. Like I didn't know if it actually was her daughter or not.
Yeah.
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
reading that.
When they would shout daughter, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on now?
Mhm.
Like, I got very confused.
I thought, to be honest with you, I thought she was having a hallucination, and that maybe the priest was right in that she's not having memory, she's going crazy because of what she saw with the murder. But then they were talking about rape again. I'm like, what is that?
There's a very good chance that something happened to her, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I think part of it was memory.
But maybe it actually is a daughter. I mean, if they're pimping out these girls so young and they're pregnant,
Yeah.
could have been a
Yeah,
daughter.
it's a very,
Good
there's
possibility.
a great dark underbelly that surrounds this piece. Alrighty then, if you're interested in checking out this short work, I think as far as I know, the one place that you can definitely find it is in this collection, Trinidad Noir. I'm definitely convinced to look into the rest of this series. I have a few more of the books, and I am definitely convinced to check out the other stories in this. Hopefully they're not as confusing.
Yeah.
But be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.